Comes in on Crawford, he got a piece of it, loose in front of Tintin and score! Alexander Steen!
Drops the puck back to Dubinsky. Jokinen falls, sits back in front, gonna save, rebound, Calvert scores! Matt Calvert, overtime winner! And there it is! The Columbus Blue Jackets have won a playoff game for the first time in their history.
Granlund trying to fight off a jet as he plays to the point. Instead, he works his way back free. Granlund fires, scores!
Now Jackman again through traffic, score! It's found its way through, and the Blues lead the series 2-0. Patrick Kane up the far side. South going to the net. Here Kane with a shot. He scores! Crawford lands it down. Fleury couldn't play it. Johansson centers. Score! Dubinsky ties the game with 22.5 seconds remaining. Foligno for the Penguin line. Shoots, he scores! Foligno wins it in overtime. This series is tied at
2. You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And download every episode and more at basicallyasportshow.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg,
Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
We are rolling. It is basically a sports show number 2 something or another. I don't really know. And but we're here, and I got to think we're going to talk hockey right out of the gate, aren't we?
I mean, you know, I don't know if it's that fun or exciting.
What the hell happened with the Blue Jackets?
Oh, my God, it's been beautiful. I mean, where do we even start? I got to be honest.
How about the fact that nobody should want to take an early lead in these games?
The Blue Jackets should be trying to score goals on themselves in the first period tomorrow.
I think the last time I was this knee-deep, not just with my team, but with the entire playoffs, was probably 1997. When the Rangers went all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Flyers, I believe it was. Like last year, I would watch a little bit, but this year, it's not only am I watching the Blue Jackets, I'm watching everybody. And my God, it's been fantastic.
Yesterday was quite interesting watching the Blue Jackets because the first 3 games, the winning team had come back from a 3-1 deficit. And then I saw the Blue Jackets go down 3. And then they get 1. So there's your 3-1 deficit. I'm like, oh, no. It's not going to happen again. It's not going to happen again.
Right.
And,
I mean, I think our friend McCarthy even said on the thread, he was joking, oh, we have him right where we want him. But you couldn't expect that.
Yeah.
You couldn't expect the first 4 games of the series all to end 4-3 and all of them to have comebacks from down 3-1 or 3-0.
I don't know if you guys saw the last probably 5-6 minutes of that game yesterday.
Yep, I did, yep.
At about the 6-minute mark, I thought, okay, it's just not going to happen this time.
The wheels were kind of slowing down.
They were slowing down. They weren't getting a lot of good looks, a lot of good chances, and
then Fleury.
They couldn't even pull Bobrovsky.
That's what I was going to say. They when they got to the point where they were going to pull Bobrovsky, they couldn't even get him out of the net. I mean, they couldn't get out of their own end, and then it got to be about a minute and a half, maybe a minute 10 left when he was out.
They finally got him out, and then they couldn't even gain the damn red line to dump it in.
Right, and then all of a sudden, Marc-Andre Fleury does. I don't know what he was thinking.
He flurried. Flurried.
And at 29 seconds left, Nick Foligno bangs on the tying goal, and my exact thoughts were, you have got to be fucking kidding me. Foligno scored the overtime goal. You're right. It was Brandon Dubinsky. Drove home the tying goal, and I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. There is no way. And you know what? In all honesty, once they got it to overtime, I'm like, it won't take 5 minutes and we'll win this. It's over. It's just that simple.
When they scored that tying goal, I think it was like a little less than half a minute left.
Yeah, I think 23 seconds.
I stood up from my couch. I was like, no! Oh my God! I didn't just because it's like, holy shit, it's gonna happen again. They're gonna come back from 3-1 again.
Well, that's the thing. McCarthy said he was just as nervous as all hell in the overtime, and I imagine had you been in the building, you would have been. I was relaxed at that point because I thought, you know what? It's going to happen again, and it's not even going to take long for it to happen. I know it wasn't 5 minutes into the overtime before Foligno scored.
I think it was a little bit over 2.
Just like last time in Game 2, it's the exact same thing.
Yeah. But what was weird was that the shot that he took, God damn it, Fleury, you play in the NHL.
That was terrible.
He was practically in the goddamn parking lot.
The rest of the Blue Jackets were going off for a line change. Foligno's coming in and just trying to throw it on net, basically. Yeah. And it goes right over his left pad and, outside of his glove.
Like, God damn it, Fleury, this is goaltending positioning 101 they teach you when you're, 5. Like,
there's nobody else in the zone. He could have put his whole entire body behind it. He didn't have to make the toe tip save. He could have literally thrown himself in front of the puck, and it wouldn't have made a difference.
Square yourself to the goddamn puck and make the stupid fucking simple save, you fucking knob.
Well, Mike, I wanted to ask you, because you're a goalie, okay?
Yeah.
What was he thinking in the last 30 seconds of regulation when he got – he was just so out of position, and let's be honest about it. That's what gave him the great look at the goal.
If you ask anyone who was ever involved with me playing hockey growing up, teammates or coaches, whatever, they will all tell you that that as a goalie, I was terrified of playing the puck for exactly that reason. I always had it in my mind that if I went out to play the puck – that was my weakest ability. That was my weakest area as a goaltender. So, I can only think, in his mind, he figured that there was less than a minute left, that if he was able to get a quick shot off, that he could either clear the zone himself or he could get it far enough for a defenseman to clear the zone, and then that would kill it.
Right. To his defense, when he went back there, the puck, it bounced on him, and he wasn't able to get it, and then he went to go back in front and kind of tripped over somebody. But either way, even if you're Martin freaking Brodeur, there's 30 seconds left. Stay in the crease.
Yeah.
You have a 1-goal lead with 30 seconds left. I don't care where the puck's going. You stay inside the crease, because if they go and get the puck behind the net, so be it. But you can't stop the puck if you're not in the net. You know what's strange, though? The Blue Jackets could be up 3-1.
Yeah.
The Blue Jackets could have swept this series.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
They were in the 2 games they lost, they were up 3-1.
Yeah.
This is a crazy you would think out of all the series, this wouldn't be the one where you could say at any point that this is anybody's series. This is anybody's series. Even the games the Blue Jackets lost, what they scored, the Penguins scored 2 or 3 goals in 2 minutes.
Right.
And 2 of those goals came 30 seconds apart.
Yeah.
Even in the game last night, they scored 2 goals that were 33 seconds apart.
When we talked about this last week, that's what I said. My biggest fear about playing these guys is that they have the speed and everything they have. They can bang home 3 goals on you in such a short amount of time that you don't even know what hit you before you're down 3-1 or 4-1 or whatever. And I just didn't think that a young team like the Blue Jackets would be able to bounce back from something like that. And not only have they done it once on the road, mind you, they did it again last night. And it just, but the other thing too, like Zach just brought up, this series could be over and they could have won it, but they got the 3-1 lead and they couldn't hold it both times.
And to speak to that, I think the one thing the Blue Jackets need to do, because I think they're playing fine everywhere else, Bobrovsky needs to be better. There shouldn't be a point in this series where Bobrovsky has been outplayed by Marc-Andre Fleury. But it's happened a couple times.
Well, and they really have a problem, and maybe you guys can explain this in proper terminology, but when the Penguins get set up, they get a lot of traffic in front of the net, the Blue Jackets are terrible at doing whatever you have to do to clear that out.
They just aren't a big team.
They line up, but that's what I'm saying. Once the Penguins, if they can get there and get set up in position, with a lot of traffic in front of Bobrovsky, the Jackets, they're there for 2 minutes like that. They can't clear them out. They can't get them out of there.
Well, it's what Zach said. They're a young team. They're a small team. So
I think the only 2 defensemen that I would even trust with trying to block people out of the net is Johnson and Wisniewski. But you put any of the other 4 guys out there, and they're just going to crowd the crease. And that's what I expect Pittsburgh to do. Pittsburgh's a team that can win with skill, but they see that it's not going to happen in this series. They're just going to put 3 guys in front of Bobrovsky and then have Crosby and Kunitz and Neal cycle the puck around and try to get something in there.
And that's been the Blue Jackets' biggest weakness in the series. If you take away Pittsburgh's ability to do that, and I guess it's a size thing, you take that away, I think Columbus is dominated pretty much everywhere else. It's just that one particular area of the game they're having a lot of trouble with.
I think I just have to say that I am fully on board now on this Blue Jackets bandwagon, because after every win, their coaching staff, like the guys on the bench, they just look like they're just happy to have gotten that win. Like, it's just such a huge deal for them.
You got to remember that the last time they made the playoffs, they got swept in pretty ugly fashion by Detroit. And I don't think they were even competitive in any of the games. I don't remember, but
no, it wasn't close.
And let's be honest about it. I know that people thought they might have a puncher's chance in this thing, but I don't think anyone thought it would be tied after 4 games.
I think somebody said something during one of the games that during when the Blue Jackets got the lead in Game 1, that was the first time they had held a lead in a Stanley Cup playoff series. They had never even led in the series against Detroit.
Well, there's been a lot of firsts in this series for that franchise.
Yeah, so for first overtime win, first double overtime win, first playoff win, first home playoff win, they've been great. Fun fact, national hero Sidney Crosby, Mike?
Yeah.
0 goals in his last 30 playoff games.
That's because Brandon Dubinsky's been kicking the shit out of him.
Oh, my God.
Every chance he gets.
It's so funny because every time I see them on the ice, like, Crosby will pass the puck, and normally somebody would just peel off, but Dubinsky just keeps going for him and knocks him over. He goes out of his way to get him. And you would think at some point that would bite them, but they're all over. They're not giving him or Malkin any room.
The thing about Crosby, though, is that he looks hurt from where I'm standing.
Yeah.
Like, he looks like he's not skating healthy.
He doesn't look as engaged in the game either as you expect Sidney Crosby to be.
Well, that could be because he's hurt. That could be a lot of things. But what Brandon Dubinsky's been doing to him has just been really fun to watch if you want the Blue Jackets to win.
I'll say this, that I want what's best for the Blue Jackets and their fans. But going into this series, honestly, I just thought, you know what? If they can get one win, get that first playoff win, then you know what? That's great.
What did we talk about last week? I said if they can take this thing 6 games, that would be like my wildest dream, and not win it, just take it 6.
I think even if they lost the next 2 games, it's a successful series.
Absolutely,
But after this point, I don't know. I kind of want to see him do it. I kind of want to see.
You come this far, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. When it starts, you're happy to be there, and you're like, get a win. Get that out of the way. Don't get swept. Don't embarrass yourselves. Just play well. If you lose, you lose. After the win, I'm like, you know what? Screw that. I want to beat these guys.
Well, I think it's not even that. Like even when they're in the losses, they're competitive losses.
Right.
They're not getting blown out.
Exactly. So you look at the series and you're like, it's entirely possible that Columbus could win the next 2 games. They haven't shown themselves to be outclassed yet. So,
Yeah.
No, I got to say, I was going to root for the Blue Jackets, but I'm finding myself a lot more invested in the Blue Jackets than I thought I'd ever be. Like when they scored the tying goal last night, I was sitting around waiting for my grandpa to get home, so because we tape the Ducks games so that we don't miss anything because he gets late home from work. And so I'm sitting there and I'm watching. He walks in and he's kind of like, "Oh, what's going on?" I'm like, just watching the end of the Blue Jacket game. And he's there for 10 seconds, and they score, and we both throw our hands straight up in the air like, oh, my God!
Yeah.
So, Blue Jacket fever.
Like I said, and you guys saw the end of the game last night. It didn't look like they were going to be able to put that tying goal in. It just they'd run out of gas. They weren't sharp for the last 5 or 6 minutes of the game, and I just thought, well, you know what? You did your best. Pittsburgh got all over you early. You hung tough, and it's going to be a close loss. For them to score that goal and take it to overtime, just wow. It was just really cool.
In that crowd.
Yeah, and the crowd's been great. I'm very, very happy to see them being as loud as they are and everything else. It's awesome.
The fifth line. And that was something the fans came up with that, according to McCarthy. It's not a creation of the marketing department of the team. The fans came up with that. So
I suppose it's acceptable then.
I think it's better than the 7th man.
Yeah.
Because 7th man's awkward.
Yeah.
7th man is awkward, and and in football, what are the
12th man?
Yeah,
12th man. But see, I think with hockey, when you think of the players on the ice, you always forget about the goalie. You know, you'll remember, it's 5-on-5. It's 5-on-5 play. You don't say, it's 6-on-6.
Right.
No, you say 5-on-5. Whereas in football, it's there's 11 guys on each side of the ball, so 12th man fits. 7th man's weird. It's an odd number. And I also like 5th line because 7th man is a singular thing.
Right.
5th line implies a group, or at least 3 people. So I think that's a cool little thing.
Yeah, they're new to this, so cut them some slack.
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, but the whole playoffs have been great. But anyway, So the Blue Jackets are making my life great, and let's move on.
Let's stay in the East. Let's move on to Canada's one and only hope.
God.
Montreal with the first sweep of these playoffs.
Canadiens de hockey de Montreal.
Le Club du Hockey, as they like to call
hockey, yes.
As they
Did anyone going into this series think it would be a sweep by either team?
No.
I thought this was going 7, honestly.
Yeah, I guess I think I picked it in 7. I picked Montreal and I picked it in 7, and I guess I just didn't anticipate Anders Lindback to be as bad as he was.
Oh God,
he was pretty bad.
Yes, he was.
I mean, the rest of the Lightning really didn't show up. I think the only guys that really were there were Stamkos and Andre Palat, but then he got injured.
I will say Stamkos gave so much of himself in that series. I mean, he was hustling, he was busting his ass to try to make something happen, and it just was he was getting no help from his team.
And they finally showed some jump in the 4th game when they pulled Lindback and put in Kristers Gudalevskis.
Congratulations, Tampa! You finally decided to give a crap halfway through the last game of the series,
right? And I mean, to their credit, they tied it up. But you know, Montreal being Montreal, they used the power of the ghosts of the Montreal Canadiens. 43 seconds left.
Should we talk about the little collection of controversies the series kind of accumulated?
Yeah, let's. First off, we'll talk about the call and then the people that made the call.
Are we talking about the disputed goal?
Yeah,
yes.
Goaltender interference. Now, from what I understand, and based on what I saw and how it was explained, by the letter of the law as it's written in the NHL handbook, the goal that I guess would have tied it up for Tampa in Game 3,
yes,
gets waved off. And what happens is they go to shoot, or one of the Lightning drives in on the net. Puck gets poked off and he trips, and so he trips and he goes into the back of the net.
He barrels into Carey Price.
Right, and Carey Price gets knocked over, and so the guy's in the net, and he tries to get up and get out, but PK Subban decides to box him into the net and keep his ass in front of his face. And then eventually moves. And then when he tries to go out, Carey Price backs up into the net, and he bumps him while the puck is being passed around. It gets shot from the left half wall, and then deflects off of Price and into the net. And they call no goal. And if you look at it, I mean, first off, the Lightning guy, I think it was Killorn, he was just unable to get out of the net. The Canadians weren't letting him get out of the net. And then when he finally does, Carey Price takes an extra kind of lean to the left to make contact with him. And so it was Price's fault. But Price, according to like this montage they showed, Price probably knows the goaltender interference calls better than anybody else in the league. Because
even more than Mike Smith?
Even more than Mike Smith.
Oh, wow.
Because the way that it's worded in the rule book is even if you're inside the crease, if the goalie initiates contact, so it doesn't have to be the guy running into the goalie. If the goalie initiates contact and a goal has ended up scoring on the play, and he's taken out of the play and not being able to try and stop the puck, then it's no goal. Mm-hmm. So no matter, and they showed a bunch of replays where over the years, Carey Price is in the crease and he'll stick out his arm or he'll lean into the guy next to him just to make it look like, no, I hit him. I wasn't able to move. Did you see, referee, sir?
That's all well and good, and to the letter of the law and all that. But I have two questions. First off, it's the NHL Stanley Cup Playoffs. Since when did we start calling things to the letter of the law? And secondly, it was a goal, plain and simple. In my book,
I didn't know what happened, and because I didn't know about the called off goal until I got home. And I didn't even know until after the highlight. So I'm watching the highlight, and it was actually on mute the first time I saw it. And I look at it, and I'm like, why are they – okay, so why is that not a goal? I saw, Price fell over, but he ran into the other guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And first off, the guy that he knocked into tripped over a Montreal defender. And then PK Subban wouldn't let him out of the net.
Right.
So whose fault is that? What was he supposed to do? Just sit in the net until he was able to move?
At the end of the day, though, it probably really wouldn't have mattered because I just didn't see Tampa Bay coming back and winning that series.
And that's part of the thing too, is that the goal I think was, they should have had the goal, but it wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
Honestly, that yes, that should have been a goal. It was a bad call. But Tampa Bay, honestly, it was clear that they were not the better team. So them getting bounced early it doesn't seem as if they were robbed of something that they would have gotten anyway.
No, Tampa going out in 4 instead of 5.
Yeah.
Maybe if that goal takes place in a Game 6 or even worse, a Game 7, it's a much different story, but it just they weren't going to win the series. They weren't going to suddenly, after that goal, fix all the things they had done wrong up to that point.
Now, then the other controversy is because the game was in Montreal and the game was being refereed by Denis Saint Laurent.
Yeah.
Which, if you can't tell.
French Canadian, yes.
Yeah. He's from Uzbekistan. I think he comes.
You mean that guy's not from Kentucky?
No. He comes from La Belle Provence. And I would say Tampa got hosed a little bit on some of the calls. But to say that the French-Canadian referees had it in for the Montreal Canadiens, I don't know. I also think it's pretty lazy to blame it on the referees.
It is pretty lazy, although I will admit that when Game 4 started up and they had Francois Saint Laurent out there.
It was Denis Saint Leroux and then Francois Saint Laurent. That's right.
Yeah. And so, Francois Saint Laurent shows up, they show his name at the start of Game 4, and I'm like, oh, it's going to happen again. But that's... Okay, I know this isn't the NHL, but let's look back at the NFL when they did that whole replacement referee thing. And they pulled that one guy, that one ref from that one game because he was obviously a Saints fan. Okay, let's break it down. We're going to have French-Canadian referees. That is just the nature of it. Hockey's big in Quebec. You're going to have French-Canadian referees. While they might have some personal favoritism towards the Canadians, and maybe this is my first mistake because I should know better, but I'm going to give the NHL the benefit of the doubt here and say that they're not going to put anyone in charge of a game who they feel, is likely to compromise the integrity of that game.
I would agree with that. I'm going to give the officials themselves the benefit of the doubt.
Well, and the other thing is why I think it's lazy, and it's something that our friend the Admiral pointed out. If somebody was a Blackhawks fan and they're a referee and they're from Illinois, they're a lot harder to point out than somebody with a French name.
Right.
Yeah.
When you see someone with a French name, you're like, oh.
When you see
right. Yeah. You see Francois Saint Laurent.
Well, he might be a Senators fan for all we know.
Probably not.
There are no Senators fans.
Yeah, what was I thinking? God,
especially in Quebec. But you can't. If there was some guy from Alberta and he was doing a Flames game, you would never notice.
Yeah,
but
unless he comes out there with chaps and a cowboy hat, then you're not going to know.
Right, but when it's a Montreal Canadiens game, French-sounding referee, I think it's hard to say that they should not allow any French-Canadian referees to referee games with the Montreal Canadiens.
Oh, Ron McLean got into a bit of trouble over that.
Right, and I saw that, but I understood what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
Which was that the optics of it look bad.
Yeah.
But you can't say don't do it. I think that would piss off the French referees. As much as French players like playing in Montreal, I'm sure French referees like the ref in Montreal.
If everything wasn't on the up and up, well, I was going to say that Montreal would have swept that series, which is exactly what they did. But
to be fair, they also outplayed Tampa in the 2 games in Tampa. So
yes, they did. Yeah, and I was just going to point out, too, I mean, if you want to go down the rabbit hole of, the NHL wants certain teams to win, there's no way Pittsburgh and Columbus is tied at 2 right now.
Yeah.
There's no way that Chicago, St. Louis is tied at 2 right now.
Although the joke has been the NHL is so incompetent that them trying to rig a series for a certain team would probably end up getting that team swept.
It would backfire.
Yeah.
What little I saw of that series, Montreal was just the better team on the ice, and that's the end of it,
Which is surprising because Michel Therrien, French. I am terrible with French names. Michel Therrien, head coach of the Canadiens. His line combinations, holy crap, did he hit those out of the park? I mean, Tampa had started upwards to 9 defensemen over the course of the series. Montreal had kept the same 6. the lines had remained unchanged from Game 1 through Game 4. I mean, he just thoroughly outcoached. Who's the coach for Tampa? I don't even know who the coach for Tampa is.
John Cooper.
He thoroughly outcoached John Cooper.
Well, John Cooper sucked when he was with the Buckeyes. I can't imagine he'd be any better in hockey. But no. I mean, what I saw, Montreal was just it surprised me because if you look at the standings,
Tampa only clinched home ice on the final day of the season with a shootout.
But yeah, I mean, and just looking at it, just you would think that that would have been one of the better series of the first round, really evenly matched and all that. And Montreal was just way better. They just as simple as that.
I think if Ben Bishop was healthy, the Tampa would have had at least a little bit more confidence, and they would have played better. And some of those goals would have been let in.
Yeah,
but some of those goals too, I don't even think you can blame Lindback. Like the overtime winner in Game 1.
Yeah,
what are you supposed to do when three of your guys go behind the net, leave one guy wide open in front of the net, and it gets passed right to him?
See, that's why I said earlier that defensemen are useless because that's all. Just gather around the net and then just leave this guy right here. Okay,
let's look quickly at Rangers Flyers. I think this is probably the most boring of all the series.
Yeah, it depends on your perspective.
I don't know. It's been a blowout, hasn't it? Like it hasn't even like.
I don't know if it hasn't been a blowout, but I wouldn't say that it's been heavily contested.
The Flyers won. I think the game the Flyers won was fairly close, but I think the other two have been like 4-1 Rangers, right?
Their game. I think the Flyers won theirs 4-1 too.
Yeah. Flyers won.
Oh, they won 4-2. Game 2, 4-2, and then I think the Rangers won 4-1 in Game 3 and 4-1 in Game 1.
Yeah. It's been a dominant effort on just whoever happens to win. No one. There hasn't been a close game yet.
Yeah, Ray Emery wasn't good in the last game. He wasn't really good in the first game either. But Steve Mason was injured, but he's fine now. So I think he's playing tonight. I mean, really, the only thing that's come out of the series was what happened the other night when Dan Carcillo scored.
Yeah. Did you guys see the whole thing of that or just the goal?
The whole thing.
You didn't see him in the penalty box in the whole bit?
No.
Oh, my God. Well, there was more to that than just that goal.
Well, he scores the goal and then goes right over to the boards and sees some Flyer fan flicking him off. And so, of course, Dan Carcillo, being Dan Carcillo, goes right up into his face and just, flip me off.
He was in the penalty box mere moments. I mean, he got out, and I don't know how much time had passed, maybe a minute of game time, and then scored the goal. But he was in the penalty box, and he must have said, mother effer, I don't know how many times on camera. I mean, you couldn't hear him, but you could see clearly what he was saying. And it was a whole to-do, and he's in the penalty box. And I'm like, all of a sudden I look over, and he's out, and I'm like, oh, my God. And he goes on and he scores a goal, and I'm like, oh, that is just beautiful. And then the whole thing happened with the fans and all that. But, yeah. There was more to it than just him scoring the goal. There was a little bit that happened before that, which I believe is what got the fans all fired up against him in the first place.
Yeah. Well, Dan Carcillo is an easy guy to hate.
Not in that particular moment. Not for me.
But besides that, meh.
Yeah, it's not been much really fun to watch.
No, I mean, you think between the two teams that are storied rivals and, only an hour's drive apart or whatever, you think there'd be a little bit more angst.
Right.
It's just not there.
Yeah.
Those days are long gone.
This is Game 4 tonight?
Game 4 is tonight, yeah.
Okay.
In Philly.
So, hopefully...
No, it's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. That's what's driving me nuts about this series. Because it's New York, because it's Philly, it's spread. It's ridiculously spread out. They played their first game the same night or the same day Pittsburgh and Columbus played.
Yeah, well, I think I remember somebody talking about that with that series in particular. I think there was like a concert either at MSG or in Philly that delayed it.
All right.
Who's playing tonight? Boston, Detroit, Colorado, Minnesota, San Jose, LA. Okay. Let's do the last East series then. Boston, Detroit. Detroit with a really kind of surprising win in the first game.
Scared the hell out of you guys, didn't it?
I gotta say, I feel so goddamn dirty rooting for the Bruins in this series. It's just disgusting.
It's strange. Was it okay? And then the Bruins went on to win the next two games pretty comfortably, not handily.
Yeah.
Back to where we think it was. But do you remember what game it was where Milan Lucic cowbelled Danny DeKeyser?
Yes. I think.
Was it game 1 or 2?
I think it was 1.
Okay, game 1. Milan Lucic, who's a fun guy. Thinking that nobody was looking at him, he kind of looks around, doesn't see anybody, puts his stick between the legs of a Red Wing and just yanks up and gives him a nice little cowbell. And then
I think he was fined $5,000 for that.
Yeah, he gets fined $5,000 for that. And when somebody was interviewing him after the game, at first he tried to play dumb. He was like, things happen. And then once he got fined for it, people were asking the question, like, people are trying to label you as a dirty player. How do you respond to that? He's like, oh, I don't think I'm a dirty player. I think I've only done that like only 3 or 4 times in my career. Only 3 or 4 times. You know what would make you not a dirty player? Milan?
Not doing that
at all.
None times. Yeah. 0 times.
No, I saw that. I thought it was funny, but I'm sure it probably really isn't. But
I mean, in some sports, like sometimes you do it on accident, or
that was
football.
That was purely intentional,
right? You do, or in like basketball, you elbow a guy. But first off, come on, you're all men. You all know how that feels. You shouldn't do that to each other. Secondly, I mean, at least doing it with an elbow, you get over it maybe. But to use a hockey stick, a weapon?
Well,
even if you're wearing a cup, that thing's not.
It's not perfect,
especially if you do it from behind and underneath.
Yeah,
it's not. Those are meant for straight-on collisions, not what Lucic did. And of course, he looked around like it's the playoffs. It's the Bruins and the Red Wings. Did you not think that there wasn't going to be a camera in your vicinity? Like, come on.
They had some really good angles on it, though, the replay, I got to say.
I know.
You get to watch it from a lot of different viewpoints.
Yeah.
You guys are going to throw me off the show for this.
Uh-oh.
I really, and then I'm going to explain my reasoning, okay? I'm playing this through to the end, all right?
Are you buying a Gustav Nyquist jersey?
No, I'm not buying, no Grover Nyquist jerseys, no.
Grover.
I'm looking at it purely from a Blue Jackets fan perspective, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I want Detroit to win, because they dominated Detroit. So let's just say that it all falls into place and Detroit plays Columbus in the finals. That's our best shot.
Well, Detroit would first have to beat Boston.
Right.
They would then have to beat Montreal.
Right.
And then you'd have to get to there. And
but that's why I'm rooting
Columbus would have to beat Pittsburgh and Rangers Flyers.
Well, here's the thing. I think if they get past the Pirates, if they get past the Penguins, if they get past the Pirates, that would really be something because they don't even play baseball.
The original Pittsburgh hockey team was indeed the Pirates.
Oh, okay, but if they get past the Penguins, I think they can beat New York. They're going to beat New York because they're not going to play Philly. Philly's done. But that's why I'm rooting for Detroit. I don't dislike the Bruins, but these are two teams that I'm pretty ambivalent about. And at the end of the day, I'm like, well, no, it's better for the Jackets and probably the Rangers for that matter if Detroit wins this series. So that's why.
Well,
so I have sold you guys out, and I'm in the Detroit camp. What can I say?
See, the Bruins have always been odd for me because I hate every other Boston sports team.
Same here.
I hate the Red Sox. I hate the Patriots. I hate the Celtics.
Yep.
I'm not even high on Boston College. But, the Bruins, they never rubbed me one way or the other.
That's with me, too. I have no feeling on them one way or the other. I like their uniforms. That's why.
And for whatever reason, I don't know if this is valid, but I always thought of the Bruins fan base as to be slightly different than the Celtics, Red Sox, or
Same here.
Patriots fan base. Even though I'm sure they're all fans of the same team, there was just a different vibe to the Boston Bruins. Like, they were the working class team.
Yep.
They're good people and all that sort of stuff. But
they're not good people.
See, the thing is now that they're successful, I'm sure there's a lot more bleed over.
Right.
But I still haven't seen the same type of douchebaggery that I've seen from your
Pats fans?
Patriots fans, or your
Red Sox,
right. Celtics fans. I haven't seen as many mass holes. Right. What I'm trying to say.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel about them.
But
if I had it my way, a meteor would hit the arena, both teams would die, and Montreal would get a pass on to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Well, and the thing is now that Montreal's through, that's the other reason I want Boston to win.
Boston, Montreal?
Oh, God, that rivalry.
Bruins Habs playoffs?
Yeah, yeah.
Ugh.
How long had it been?
Too.
There was a stretch there for a while where the Bruins had not beaten Montreal in a playoff series for a very long time.
Yeah, and I think they beat them the year they won the Cup.
Yeah, but I mean, it hasn't happened often in my life since I've been paying attention to hockey. But there was a stretch, I don't remember how long it was, because a good friend of mine is a Bruins and a Red Sox fan, and we're still friends. I don't know how that happened, but And,
professional working relationship.
And he was, he was talking about that. He's like, Montreal, if they had to play Montreal in the playoffs, it just flipped them out because he knew what was going to happen. They were not going to win. Simple as that. So,
sure.
But that would be a great series, yeah. But still, I'm thinking about it solely from my own personal satisfaction. I want Detroit. Because the Jackets kicked their asses a bunch of different times this year. So, I'm looking way down the road here, and a whole lot of miracles have to happen in between. But, you got to be prepared.
Screw the Red Wings, screw the Bruins, but I guess Boston winning wouldn't be... It would be the lesser evil, but I still feel dirty over it.
I guess we got to go over to the West now.
Yeah. Let's do Sharks Kings first.
Oh my goodness, Sharks Kings!
What the hell?
Maybe it's just because I've heard it a lot recently, but the Sharks goal song is kind of annoying.
It's the Hey song with the synthesizer organ.
Yeah,
the rock and roll part 2. Oh no.
Well, it's not just the song. They don't just play the song. They have this.
It's a weird, bastardized version of it.
I've been to the arena and heard this thing in person. It is one of the most grating sound. It's like a synthesizer. It sounds like a Casio keyboard.
It's that song. Yeah, it's that song played on a cheap keyboard.
It's like, it's terrible. And then all the fans do hey,
best fans in hockey.
But
I hate Sharks fans.
The series itself.
I told you guys, that's the only place I've ever got a beer poured on me, right?
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah. The Ducks ended up losing the game, and it was late in the game. And
did they do it? They poured on you because you're a Ducks fan?
Oh yeah.
Oh jeez. That kind of stuff's not cool.
Yeah. It wasn't even a lot of beer, but it was some. And I'm just like, come on.
There's only like maybe 2 places where that's acceptable. Browns Steelers game. If you can get beer on a Steelers fan, you should by all means do it. Really, that's the only place I can think of where I'd be okay with it. But just on the series itself, I feel bad for the Kings in a way.
They look so just flummoxed,
bored.
No, not bored. They're just like they look confused.
I mean, those first 2 games, San Jose, it was just like, let's score another goal. Okay, bang, light goes off, another goal. Mm-hmm. Game 3, LA's in it. They're like, okay, I think they took the lead for a while, and San Jose's like, time to score a goal. Boom, that's it. Good night.
Right.
Yeah.
LA in Game 2, LA went up 2-0, and then they got 7 consecutive goals scored on them.
Yeah.
And even in game 1, San Jose went up 5-0, and the Kings started to make a comeback. It's like, could the impossible happen? And then they just nope. And even in Game 3, the Kings finally showed up a bit in Game 3.
Yeah,
but they still didn't look complete. Mm-hmm. And the first goal and the last goal that San Jose scored were strange, to say the least.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that overtime goal was okay. I'll just say it. That overtime goal was bullshit. It was a bullshit goal.
Yeah, I mean, Patrick Marleau just kind of weakly backhands it towards the net.
Nope.
It deflects off Slava Voinov's stick, who's screening quick as it is, and the puck just kind of flutters over quick. Just like, it's weak, but it went in the net, and now the Kings are down 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's anything for the Kings to take solace in, 3-0 comebacks have happened in hockey more than any other sport.
But
I think there's like 4 times it's happened.
But
not the way they're playing.
Not the way they're playing. No, and those first 2 games, like I said, I don't have any feelings about the Kings one way or the other. But Game 3 is where I really just started to feel for them. They finally show up. San Jose, of course, comes out and scores right away. And then LA gets 2. They're up 2-1. And boom, like a minute and a half later, San Jose scores again, and it's tied. I thought, God, I mean, these poor bastards. They just can't catch a break. But
despite before the series, I wanted this to go as long and as bloody as possible because I wanted should the Ducks move on, which is now obviously in question, I wanted whoever to move on to be tired. When they played if they were to play the Ducks.
Well, scoring 13 goals in a couple of games, that'll wear you out. So there's one way to look at it.
Sure. But at the same time, I'm really strangely enjoying how badly the Sharks are beating the Kings.
Yeah.
It just because, like I said, they just look flummoxed. They look confused.
Flummox is the best description.
Right. I mean, I keep using that word, but I just like because it's one of those things where it's like, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah.
What do we have to do?
They've got no clue.
Yep.
They have no answer for anything. And
to me, everyone just look bored. Honestly, like I don't know. There just seems to be a lack of intensity. They just don't seem. I mean, obviously they care, but it just doesn't look like it. Like they do. They just seem deflated. But it's not a matter of being deflated once they're down. They just start the game with no energy. Even in game 2, they were up 2-0 going into the second period, and they started the second period and they started playing like they didn't give a shit. Like they were just kind of coasting down the ice. They weren't putting much hustle into it. It was just they're like, oh, we have the lead, okay, and then they were just kind of. They're just kind of gingerly skating around, and then San Jose picked their game up and lit them up. But they just don't seem to care.
They're depending too much on Jonathan Quick, Mike.
Well, I think that despite how much we want to make fun of, our good friend. What am I saying? But as much as we want to make fun of him for that, it's true.
Well, I don't think
you can only win so many 1-0 hockey games.
Right, I agree with that assessment. But what I'm saying, like I said before the show, it's not like they went out there and said we're just going to step out of the way and let Quick get peppered with shots all night and see what happens.
Right, but it's got a functional the way the Kings play. They play defense,
right,
and they're trying to keep the other team off the board. But what happens?
It's working out real well.
Well, exactly. When that breaks down, they can't. They're not a quick strike offense.
Right.
They have to possess it. They have to get traffic. They have to kind of work it around, and the Sharks aren't letting them do it. And part of it is the Sharks not letting them do it. Part of it is them just not doing it. I don't know. It's strange.
Well, the beauty of this is the Sharks are going to get all their fans' hopes up because they're going to dominate this series. Let's be honest about it.
Yeah,
and they're going to get everybody's going to get all fired up, and when they get sent home in the next round, oh well.
I could see the Kings just laying down tonight too.
Well, I hope they don't. No, I honestly
hope they don't. But I could see them very. I hope easily just like. Nah.
I just hope the Kings come out on fire. I hope the Kings come back, win this game, and win the series in a Game 7. Because if any team could blow a lead this year, it would be the San Jose Sharks.
Well, that would be hysterical. There's no question about it. But I just don't know. I would almost have a little bit of faith in them coming back from down 3-0 if they hadn't gotten blown out in the first 2 games. If it had been close, if it had been something where they just said, okay, we just need to fix this one little thing and we'll be okay. But, and again, I don't know that much about the strategic end of hockey and all that, but from what I can see, there's a whole lot more than just a couple little things wrong with this Kings team right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing, reason I don't want them to go win 4 in a row, as much as seeing San Jose collapse in the most epic fashion possible would be fan-freaking-tastic. I don't want to have to play the Kings when they won 4 in a row.
Right.
I don't want that train to get rolling.
Right. You don't want any part of a team that just came back from the dead and rolled off 4 straight. Yeah.
Right. I don't. As much as I would love to see the Sharks lose, especially now that everyone's saying, "Oh, they look like they got destiny on their side. They look like a Stanley Cup team. This is the Sharks team we've all wanted to see."
They've had destiny on their side for like. What, 10 years at this point?
Right. It's so funny because people keep bringing that up, and I'm like, guys, I don't know why. Do people just keep forgetting? Like, they've looked like this before. They've done this. I've seen this same team. And, I could see that they could sweep this. They could be high and mighty. They could be ready and raring to win a Stanley Cup. And then they could go play Anaheim or Dallas in the next round, and they could get swept. Like, come on. I'm not going to jump on the Sharks bandwagon.
Oh, no.
Well, I mean, I would never jump on the bandwagon, but I mean, I wouldn't jump to the side of they look like they're Stanley Cup ready until it's, they're up 3. They're about to clinch the cup with 5 minutes left.
What's the score?
They have a 7-goal lead.
Okay, all right, yeah.
They have a 7-goal lead with 5 minutes left.
My first question was going to be, what's the score with 5 minutes left?
If it's a 1-goal game, I wouldn't even.
Nope.
I would think they would actually drop the cup.
I'm going to make
if they would actually win the cup, I think who's the captain now? Thornton.
Thornton would drop it.
I'm going to make a How I Met Your Mother reference here. It's like that bet that Marshall and Lily made about Ted and Robin. If they're up with 5 minutes to go and it's a 1, not yet. Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No.
Yep.
Just wait for it.
Just wait for it. Not yet.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be amazing. Up by a goal, 5 minutes left in a Stanley Cup Finals, Game 7, and then they just lose. They get 2 goals scored on them in the span of 30 seconds.
I think if that happened, I think they should just fold the franchise at that point. Because it's we've done everything, guys. I don't know what we have to do here. We're just not going to win. This isn't going to happen.
And they need to figure something out because Thornton and Marlowe are getting up there. So
what do you do though? Seriously, let's say that something along those lines happens. Let's say that, God forbid, they do make the finals. All right, and they get that close, and then they lose it. If you're a fan, what do you do at that point? Let's say
I couldn't bring myself to care about the regular season anymore.
And Mike, I hate to bring up. No, you know what? I'll use Blackhawks Bruins last year in Game 6 as a reference. Okay, you're that close.
Thank you.
You're that close. The Bruins were that close to winning Game 6, and then boom, in a span of a minute and 10.
Yeah,
they lost.
The difference is Boston doesn't have the history of chronic choking.
But that's what I'm saying. Now let's make that same situation. Let's move that to say San Jose against Montreal in the finals. Mm-hmm. And San Jose is that close, and then in that last minute and 10, they lose in Game 7. What do the fans do at that point? I'd have to go. You know what? I'm going somewhere else. I have to.
I would have.
I'm going to go watch soccer.
If I was a Sharks fan, God forbid, rest my soul. I would have to take a break from all sports for 3 months. I don't think I'd be able to watch anything because I would just be so disappointed. Be they're just going to be like the Sharks and lose. And then going on to the next season, why would you even care to watch the regular season?
You know what, though? I'm sitting here and I'm talking about all this, and I've lived this. What am I talking about?
Oh, the Browns. The Cleveland Browns.
I have lived this with the Cleveland Browns in the 80s. I'm what would you do? Yeah, the drive, the fumble.
What kept you coming back?
Honestly,
I am legitimately curious. What did keep you coming back?
And this is weird, and I imagine Sharks fans can relate to this. You just get to a point where you think it can't keep happening. Now, that lasts for a little while. And then you go, you know what? No, it's going to keep on happening. Oh, wait, the Packers have a stock sale going on? Guess what? See ya, Cleveland. That's what happens. So for a little while, you keep coming back, but eventually you go, because you just think the law of big numbers says we have to win one of these eventually.
Right. And that's what all these Sharks fans keep telling themselves. It just has to. It has to. So, the thing that keeps them going at this point, I think, is the fact that they haven't been to the finals. Mm-hmm. And so, they haven't actually lost in the Stanley Cup yet. So I think that keeps them stringing along. Well, we got to at least get to the finals, right? But
God, they are the Cleveland Browns of hockey.
Hey, San Jose Shark fans, how old's your team? Just a little bit over 20 years? Okay, good for you. Maple Leafs fan here, going on 50 years of cup drought. So,
you've been in the finals since then, though, haven't you?
No.
They haven't even made the finals since '67.
Nope.
Are you sure?
I am positive.
Well, yeah, he would know better than anybody.
Yeah.
The closest they got in
the King series,
the '93 Wayne Gretzky bit.
There was that, and then the year after that, they actually made it to Game 7 against Vancouver. The year that Vancouver went to. So there were those two. They played Buffalo in the Eastern Conference Finals the year that Buffalo went to the Cup.
That was 96?
99.
99.
And then they made.
Oh, 96. I was still living in New York then. What am I thinking? Yeah, 99. Go ahead.
And then the last time they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals was, I think it was 2002, the year that the Hurricanes played the Red Wings. The Hurricanes beat the Leafs, I think, in 6 games in the Eastern Conference Finals then. So.
Oh, well, then screw the Sharks fans. You guys are in much worse shape.
Right. Well, because the Sharks.
What keeps you coming back, Mike?
Honestly,
it's the passion that unites everyone.
No, cheap marketing gimmick, but no, honestly, that's it. I mean, they're the Maple Leafs.
Yeah,
there's so much history tied into it. It's I'm not even going to play the whole it has to happen eventually, because Leafs are pushing 50 years of a cup drought, and in the back of your mind you think, it's got to end sometime, but then you look at the Cubs, who haven't won a World Series 100 years, and you figure, okay, there's no reason to think that this couldn't go on for another 50 years, but it's just they're the Maple Leafs. They're the team you followed your whole life.
Right.
In for a penny, in for a pound at this point. So.
Well, you know what? But that's
how Sharks fans feel about the Sharks.
And you know what? That's how I felt about the Browns in the original incarnation. Mm-hmm. They're the Cleveland Browns. They're what I grew up with. They're my team. It was when they came back and they weren't the Browns anymore and they still couldn't get it done. I thought, well, first off, these aren't really the Browns.
Tim Couch didn't light your world on fire.
Yeah, and secondly, you know what? I don't need to put up with this anymore, and I don't. So, but that said, even though, despite all of that, there's still this little glimmer of hope that, like, hey, maybe next year they might actually be pretty good. I don't know what keeps people coming back, but we do.
Wait until their new uniforms come out.
That'll do it. That will end it. I promise you. If they're clown suits, that will be the end of it. I won't. I can't abide by that.
But as far as Sharks fans go, as far as the Sharks go, I mean, yeah, I have nothing really against the team. In fact, I actually kind of in theory like their uniforms. They have a lot of problems going on, and the stupid get rid of the hem stripes to make the jerseys lighter. It's just, well, it's stupid. But I like their uniforms. I like their colors. I like their logos, sort of. Mm-hmm. Although I think their first logo set was better. But it's just, it's that fan base.
Well,
it's that fan base.
And to be fair, Mike, they have taken off the best fans in the NHL thing from the website. It now says official home of the Sharks playoffs.
They must have heard us.
And I agree with you, Mike. Like, honestly, if the Sharks weren't a division rival
mm-hmm.
and a California rival, in a vacuum, I like a team called the Sharks. I like a team that's teal called the Sharks. I like their logo. Their uniforms were always kind of modern, but still neat. Like I love the Nike jerseys that they had, but I can't. They're the Sharks. They're Sharks fans. I can't. I could never bring myself to do that.
That sounds like me and the Steelers, especially back in the old days when I was younger and the '70s Steelers and all that was taking place. Great uniforms. I liked a lot of the players. I respected the talent and the ability, but at the end of the day, they were the Steelers. I just couldn't do it. And that's
in a vacuum, I'd be a Sharks fan probably. Like if I had never seen hockey, and someone laid out the 30 teams and their logos and team names and uniforms and all that put together, I'd be like, oh,
wow.
No, I was a Sharks fan for like 15 minutes back when I was like really little.
Oh yeah, especially like in the '90s, it'd be like, Sharks. Yeah.
Remind me. I don't want to bring this up now because I don't want to go stray off the playoffs. But I want to bring up if we could pick a hockey team just solely based on their uniforms, who we would pick. So we'll do that later.
I think we could do that exercise with every league. I think it'd be interesting.
Okay, we'll do that then. All right. So every league. Okay, you guys keep talking.
We got something when we get bored in the summer.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
because it happens.
Yes, it will.
Okay, but let's see. Let's move on. You want to stay in the Pacific Division? Can I get it over with?
Yeah, get it over with.
Let's talk.
Okay. Ducks Stars. First game, the Ducks come out. They look great. They go 4-0. Everything's fine. And then they let in 3 goals, and then you're holding on to your seat. Oh my God, we can't lose this game? But hey, we win. It's fine.
Right.
Mikhailov got hit in the face. Oh no, what's going to happen? Oh, look at his face. There's all those stitches. Game 2. Oh my God, game 2 is awesome. Getzlaf scores a goal.
They sewed his chin back on.
Short-hander. And then they give a goal. And then it's 3-2. And oh my God, holding on to for dear life. But hey, it's a 2-0 lead. We're going back to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
We're okay. Going to Dallas, first game, you lose 3-0. In a game where I thought the Ducks actually outplayed them, and you look at the stats, they had better possession stats and stuff like that with the advanced stats. And it was like, okay, Carter Lettinen can't play like that again. There was a lot of bad luck. I think we'll be okay. We'll win the next game. Then you go up 2-0, and everything's fine. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Until the Stars scored 4 goals, including a goal 30 seconds into the period.
Jamie Benn is not your favorite player, is he?
Jamie Benn. No, and then not to mention during the third game, the third game it was a lot worse than the fourth game. But the Stars going out of their way to just try and get under the skins of the Ducks players, and I knew they were going to do that, and that's their game plan because they're trying to get Getzlaf and Perry off their game. Okay, fine, but I just think it's a Bush League move when you see a guy with stitches on his face and a jaw protector on to go start throwing rabbit punches at his face every single time that there's a scrum.
Mm-hmm.
And like I understand gamesmanship and if Jamie Benn had a face guard on. But I think if Jamie Benn had a face guard on, I don't think I wouldn't do that. Because that's just like, I don't know.
Kind of Bush League?
Yeah. Like, if Sidney Crosby had a face mask thing on, would you want Brandon Dubinsky to go out there and, keep grabbing his collar and bumping up against his face mask every time?
No.
After every shift?
For no other
because
reason,
at a certain point it gets petty and stupid.
Well, not only that, but for no other reason that you don't want that to be hanging over what your team does,
Sure.
Like if they win, I don't want it to be, because you played so dirty and this. I don't want to hear that, So right. No, I don't want that. Plus, Dubinsky's done a fine job of kicking his ass without even using his face, so I'm not worried about it.
Right, and so some of that's getting under the Ducks' skin, and honestly, I don't like to complain about the referees, but I think both ways, honestly, the refereeing in this series has been atrocious on both sides. Things have obviously not gone well for us, but I wouldn't say that we've lost because of the refereeing, but it's a frustrating thing when you're sitting there watching and you're just like, why are you letting some of this shit go? And then you're calling that. Like, I don't understand the thought process sometimes. But basically, the Ducks looked like crap in Dallas. Frederik Andersen looked terrible last night. And Hiller came in, and you know what? I wouldn't be too surprised if Hiller was back in the net tomorrow night. And Getzlaf was out the last game. Teemu was a healthy scratch because he's been bad, unfortunately. And Stefan Robidas broke his leg again, and now all of a sudden it's a cascade of injuries and bad things, and I didn't want to play the Stars in the first place because we had bad mojo in that building, and now it's looking like last year when it's just like this was a terrible matchup. Like you're one of the best teams, but then you get a surging team,
right?
That's just a terrible matchup, like what they had with the Red Wings, and I fully anticipate the series going 7 games now. I think the Ducks will win tomorrow. I don't know if they can win back in Dallas. And then it comes down to Game 7, and last year the Ducks decided to just not show up for Game 7. So if we do get to a Game 7 this time, I would hope they learn their lesson, and I hope we just put this thing behind us and move on to San Jose. But it's rough to go from up 2-0 and looking fine to being down 2-0 and being terrible. Well, and having your captain injured and not knowing he was going to play tomorrow.
Somebody on the boards brought this up. I don't remember who it was, but they said, and I'm not agreeing with this or disagreeing, I'm asking you because you know the team, that this series has pointed out some glaring weaknesses the Ducks allegedly have. Is that the case here?
I wouldn't say glaring weaknesses.
I'm trying to find it so I can be a little more specific.
I think the specific thing was goaltending that they brought up.
Well, that was oddball, and that's stupid. When they started off with Frederik Andersen.
Oh wait, it was oddball. Never mind. The whole thing's completely irrelevant now. But go ahead.
But I understand because what his argument is, you shouldn't have to flip flop between goaltenders. But the argument against that is that the Ducks had the option of flip flopping between goaltenders all season because they have 2 or 3 quality netminders. And I still stand by that it was the right thing to start Frederik Andersen at the beginning of the series because Hiller looked terrible and Frederik Andersen had been playing well. And he came in and he played fine in the first 2 games. He wasn't spectacular, but he was fine. And after watching the first 2 games, I also thought to myself, I don't know if Frederik Andersen could carry this the full way, but it's what we needed right at the second. And should he falter, they need to put Hiller in. And he, in Game 3, some of the goals weren't necessarily his fault, but the first 3 goals last night were all his fault. The first goal Jamie Benn scored, it was a face-off on the other side of the blue line, and Jamie Benn just gets it, takes 1 step over the blue line and shoots it, and Andersen just wasn't ready for it. It was a lot like the Blue Jackets overtime winner.
Yeah.
The second goal was short side. Vernon Fiddler's going behind the net, and he just kind of shoves it at Frederik Andersen, who's not holding the post, and it squeezes between his arm and the body and goes in.
Always hug the post, kids. Always hug the post.
The third one, what was the third goal? Oh, the third goal was a 2-on-1, so it's not partly his fault, but the guy never passed it, and so he should have had his eyes on the shooter.
Yeah.
He did, and he let it go right under his glove from Cody freaking Eakin. Come on. And then the fourth goal was all the defense's fault. A terrible breakdown. Alex Golgoski stepped up and put it in, and Dallas is scrappy. And that's one of the reasons I didn't want to play him. Dallas is scrappy. Kari Lehtinen had a couple good games, which he could have done. Kari Lehtinen is a decent enough goalie. And now we're in this rough spot where you're supposedly the best team in the conference, and now you're tied 2-2 with the 8th seed that had to fight its way into the playoffs.
Well,
if they lose the series, I mean, there's a lot of excuses I can pull out because of injuries and Getzlaf and
yeah.
No.
I'm at a point where Bruce Boudreau has never won a first-round playoff series.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, I'm honestly surprised by this. I thought this would be a series that Anaheim would have in the bag.
Yeah, me too.
And after the way they played the first two and a half periods of game one, I thought that was the case. I mean, we sat here last week, and it was right after that, and I said, yeah, Dallas doesn't have the depth. They don't have the horses to run with the Ducks. And all of a sudden, now we're here 2-2 a week later.
Yeah, because I had said that I thought that Dallas would get just one game at home just because it just happens, and that would be it, And now I'll take that to the entire playoffs as a whole. Everything that I think that a lot of things that we thought were going to happen didn't, and a lot of things that we didn't think were going to happen are, and it's just been weird all across the board. But I think the Ducks will be okay.
The West has definitely been a lot tighter too.
I think the Ducks. Again, I don't know much about either one of these teams, but I think at the end of the day, the Ducks just have more talent, and they got to get the win. Well, if they don't get the win tomorrow, you guys are in big-time trouble. It's that simple. But
yeah, if they lose tomorrow, I don't expect a Game 7.
If they win tomorrow, I think they close it out in Dallas in Game 6, and that's it. And
I hope so.
Close. Go ahead, Mike.
I've still got to back the Ducks on this. They're just simply the better team. You look at these teams on paper, and you just got to say, yeah, Dallas has made a series of it, but I just don't see how Dallas – I just don't see it. I don't see how they are in any way able to advance. Of course, it's why we play the game. The stat sheets don't tell everything. But just on paper, Dallas shouldn't be in this series, but they are.
I mean, the guys that are scoring the goals for Dallas are not goal scorers. Antoine Roussel – Ryan Garbett. Ryan Garbett is a piece of garbage, is what he is.
He's become a new board favorite. Ryan Garbett.
For God's sakes. Ryan Garbett is a piece of garbage. He's a trash hockey player.
Well, anyway,
the Dallas Stars. I never thought I would hate the Dallas Stars again, but now I'm here and frustrated.
It's funny though how that happens, isn't it? I didn't have any thoughts on the Pittsburgh Penguins one way or the other. Now, I can't stand them. Don't even want to look at them. But I think that I'm with Mike. I think that the Ducks are just a more talented team. Dallas is kind of playing on house money right now. So they got nothing to lose. Maybe they're a little looser about it. But at the end of the day, this isn't a Montreal-Tampa series where really. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but those teams are so closely matched that it could have been a Tampa-Bay sweep as easily as it was a Montreal sweep going in. Could have gone 7. Anything could have happened. I don't see that in this series. No. Now, if I'm off base, tell me. But that's just the way I'm looking at it.
No, you're on base here.
Yeah, I just hope that because Getzlaf didn't even play tomorrow. They actually sent him home before the game, or yesterday, I should say. They say it's just an upper body injury, and that bugs me the hell out of the playoffs. Where it's what's he wrong with? It's an upper body injury.
They may not want to say because they don't want Stars players targeting it when he comes back.
Right. I know, and they've done that for the last 10 years. It didn't used to be this way. If somebody got hurt, you would tell them what was injured, but now it's because they don't want people targeting it. It's an upper body injury. Or a lower body injury, or I forget who it was, but a couple of years ago, somebody just they put on the injury report, and it was a body injury.
A body injury,
as opposed to the non-body injury, which okay.
Well, maybe it's a Marc-Andre Fleury or Roberto Luongo thing where it's a mental injury, not so much a
Hey, Marc-Andre Fleury can go as mental as he wants. I got no problem with that.
Yeah, but Getzlaf needs to play tomorrow. And I almost want Hiller to play at this point. Let him play because he's the starter. Anderson's good, but Hiller's still the guy. I still think Hiller's more talented than Anderson was. Anderson was the right guy to start the playoffs, but I think it's clear now that when the Ducks needed a big save on some of these easy goals that he let in, he just didn't make it. And I think that's something that where they need a guy that's going to buckle down on those big saves. And yeah, Hiller can kind of flop around a little bit, but he can make a big save when he needs to. And Anderson, I don't know if he can do that yet, but we'll see. Still a lot to go. I mean, I'm going to go to the game tomorrow, and hopefully The good thing is I'm going out in L.A. The next night, so I can forget about anything that happened, or celebrate. Celebrate, good times come out.
I think you guys get Game 5 tomorrow, and you close it out in Game 6. Yeah, I just don't think that the Stars have the horses.
I don't know why I'm so frustrated playing the Dallas Stars, but I would be so much more comfortable if we were playing L.A. or San Jose. Only because I think with those two, they know what to expect.
Yeah.
I didn't like the Dallas Stars. I knew Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin, but I learned half their roster in Game 1, so whatever.
Well, and with the Stars, I mean, they were struggling just to make the playoffs right up till the very end, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thankfully, because the Coyotes derped harder than anyone else has ever derped, they got in there. And that makes me so mad now because the Coyotes have made it in. The Ducks were 5-0 against the Coyotes this year.
Yeah.
And not even like in close games, like in dominant fashion, they were 5-0. So
thanks again, Phoenix.
Thanks, Phoenix. Thanks.
No. Arizona Coyotes now.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Gotta wait at the draft.
At the draft? Okay.
Yeah.
Their fancy new clip art shoulder patch?
Yes.
That's nice.
Yeah. Let's see. Moving on to the Central Division.
I just want to point out we made it through that entire analysis without once making a Dallas Buyers Club reference.
Yeah. Because we're witty that way.
Because we're normal human beings.
Let's do Colorado.
Colorado, Minnesota. This has been a fun series.
It's been really fun, and Matt cooked so hard.
Matt Cook. Do you see how far did he actually stick his leg out on that? I've seen some knees that are a little bit more subtle. I hate Dustin Brown for what he tries to do with his knee.
Yeah.
But this was he put his leg out like he was trying to trip him.
Yeah.
It was terrible. That was one of the worst knees I've seen in my life. Because he didn't even try to play it off. He just,
Yeah, no, they were dragging him to the penalty box. He was like, "Well, he didn't even try. He didn't even try to hide it." And what has he been suspended for 7 games? I think
7 games, and I think that's too little.
Yeah,
because I know that he's a changed man. He's a nicer guy now. He's not elbowing people in the head anymore. But the fact is, he still has a checkered history, and that was a very, very obvious intent to injure. He wasn't doing that to get a piece of him. He was doing that to take his leg off, and he did because he's out for the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Honestly, given how, given Matt Cook's past, 10-game minimum, I think would have.
I think 10-game minimum. I would have thought 11 or 12, but 7.
But the game,
it's not going to matter because I don't think Minnesota's going to move on. They had a very nice win, like that goal Michael Granlund scored in overtime the other night was fantastic.
Although Varlamov, I kind of hated to see him lose the shutout, just given how well he played.
He played very well, but Minnesota earned that one. And for Colorado, Nathan McKinnon, holy crap!
I've been hearing this name a lot. Yeah,
he's 18 years old. He's not even 19 till September.
He's got to be having some fun, huh?
Training camp starts. Holy Christ! Yeah, and Duchesne is out, and so he got moved onto the top line with Stasny and Landeskog, and they've been great. They have been. That's been a fun line to watch.
I said,
so much fun to watch that you guys are speechless.
No, I was actually looking for the Cook hit. I wanted to see it again, but there it is.
It's a solid knee.
And I got to be honest, I want to watch this series, but I have not seen 1 minute of it so far.
The problem is the way they stack these games on top of each other.
Right.
one of the games was on NHL Network, and because of the overtimes too, they've been pushed. Like one of the games was scheduled to be on NHL Network. A second one had to be on NHL Network because of I think because of the Colorado or the Chicago Blues.
Holy shit!
Game. Yeah.
It's blatant, isn't it?
Oh my God! Yeah. 7 games he got for that.
7 games, and the guy who we hit. Torn ACL and out for 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh man,
or torn MCL.
That is some cheap stuff right there, folks.
Well, Matt Cook's a dirty son of a bitch. So,
but anyway,
but he's reformed, Mike.
Okay, since that night or what?
No, well, he used to be a Penguin, and the reason that all these headshot rules got put into place were partly because of him. And he was. I think it was Mario Lemieux said, if you don't change your game, I'm not going to resign you, and I'm going to get you run out of the league.
Wow.
And so his final year in Pittsburgh, he kind of changed his game, didn't take many penalties, was scoring goals. He was being productive. And in this year in Minnesota, he's been a pretty good guy, good enough Boy Scout in relative terms. And then he goes out in this series and throws his knee 3 feet to the left.
Yeah, I mean that was so obviously, on purpose. It wasn't. Yeah, that wasn't an accident by any. There's just no way. But
yeah, but so far Patrick Waugh hasn't eaten anyone yet. So
well, there's still time. Still time.
But it's been a fun series.
I'm expecting him to kill the Minnesota coach when they shake hands after the series.
Well, it's been a bummer for me because, like Zach said, with the way the games are stacked and all that, because I like the Wild, I like their style of play, and I want to see this up and coming Avalanche team, but I just haven't had a chance to watch them. It's just been so I can't say much about the series because I haven't seen any of it.
Yeah.
Although I will say that Minnesota's one win came about the way I would have expected it to, 1-0 game, because they're not going to score a lot, I don't think.
No, and. What do you think about the Wild wearing their green jerseys at home?
I don't like it.
I think the green is better than the red, but I still don't.
I mean, the green.
It's not something I like to see every single night.
See, I like those better than the red ones, but I'm of the opinion that they should just make those the primary homes, so long as they're designated alternates. No. And it's the same thing with the Ducks, honestly. You wear your primaries in the playoffs.
Well, the thing is, there's the slogan for the Ducks is painted orange, and that happens to be the jersey that has the most orange.
What happened to paint it black? Like that song.
Black is not a bright color.
I see a red door and I want to paint it black. Come on.
And we're
Come on.
Orange County?
Come on.
They're not in Black County, Mike. They're in Orange County. Come on now.
and orange sticks out.
Although I got to say,
Dallas tried to do a blackout a few years ago, and I remember Marty Turco was like, "Guys, don't do that. I can't see the puck."
Yeah, I never even thought of something like that, but yeah.
That's why there's no blackouts in hockey.
Should we move on to the
best series of the playoffs so far? Sure.
I thought we already talked about that.
Second bet?
Yeah, okay. The best.
Second best?
Probably the best as far as quality of play goes, I would say, yeah.
Blues Blackhawks. Very good.
The
overtime game.
The Suicide Watch series.
Well, I mean, it's had almost everything. You got the 3 overtime game in game 1. Then you have the controversial hit in game 2.
Yeah.
Follow along with the controversial chirp by Duncan Keith.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the shutout in game 3, and you have another overtime game in game 4. Now we're going back to St. Louis, and this thing's fun. This
thing's fun, so long as none of us are actually invested in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, honestly, I bet if I wasn't a Ducks fan, the Ducks Star Series would be like, oh, that's interesting. How is this happening? But you're just like, oh, this is so terrible. But I'm sure if I was a Blues or Blackhawks fan, like many of the people we know, they're hating every second of this.
The thread on the boards, on the Kramer boards, has been absolutely fantastic.
It's gotten to such a crazy point that we're now discussing pizzas.
This is the only
of Chicago pizza versus St. Louis pizza.
At least this one's going the way we thought it would.
Yeah, this is, St. Louis won the first 2 games. You're like, oh, you want this to be a little bit longer. And then Chicago comes back with a shutout, and everything's back to normal. Now the Blues fans are the ones hyperventilating because, oh no, we lost 4 games straight to the Kings last year too. Oh no.
Well, see that, but this is the thing that I think that everyone involved in this series has to understand. They are both pretty good hockey teams. Mm-hmm. So you're not gonna. No one's gonna sweep the other side. You're not gonna blow them out. It's gonna be close, and you just gotta hope that when it's all said and done, you guys are the guys that won the most games out of the 7. Because that's really it.
Yep.
This series is gonna go 7, I think.
At least 6.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a given. But
what do we like? I mean, just let's throw out who we'd like to see win, just who we think will win.
I'd like St. Louis, but I think Chicago's going to take it.
I'm with you. I'd like to see St. Louis.
I think Chicago's going to win tonight, actually.
Yeah, I'd like to see St. Louis get it, but I think Chicago, they're the defending Stanley Cup champions, and I think they're going to win it.
I think Chicago wins it, and honestly, they're who I'd like to see. Previously, I mentioned because I don't like the Blues uniforms, although my recent knowledge of St. Louis pizza has kind of turned me off to the entire city, so...
Anyway, but yeah, it's been in my book anyway, a pretty good first round of the playoffs so far, and we're just getting started.
We're not going to talk about the NBA, but just to do a quick comparison between the two of them,
yeah,
like there's no contest. At least the first round of the NHL playoffs kills the first round of the NBA. I can't think of like anything. I mean, the Warriors won the first game over there, and so that was kind of interesting. The Hawks beat the Pacers in the first game, but since those two things.
Here's the thing. Okay, the Hawks might win a game. They are not going to win that series. They're just not going to win it. It's as simple as that.
Right.
And the Bobcats are already down 2-0 to Miami.
Yeah.
Not even a hint of suspense there.
I didn't even know that those games had actually been played.
Well,
until I looked at the standings, like, oh, the Heat are up 2 on the Bobcats.
If they didn't show the scores and the bottom, the crawl along the bottom of the screen during the hockey games, I wouldn't even know the playoffs were taking place in the NBA.
All I know is
I know. I saw at least from the pictures outside the ACC. Mike, has Raptors fever just enveloped Toronto?
Northern Uprising, yo. That's the big thing now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's the big T-shirt they're selling now. I guess they're not selling any more Drake memorabilia. Now it's all Northern Uprising.
Drake was there.
Drake was there, yes, but they're not selling Drake Night shirts anymore. Now it's all Northern Uprising. That's the big thing.
Well, I don't have a thing against basketball. I really don't. But if you're watching sports to be entertained, if you want entertainment, you've got to be on the NHL playoffs. Because
the first rounds need to go back to 5 games.
Yeah,
they put 3 days between some of these games.
Well, that's the thing too, because they've got the whole thing where they've got to play it for TV. So you've got to make sure that you can't have the Heat and say the Clippers playing on the same night or whatever. So it's just ridiculous.
Well, and they already planned the start date of the finals ahead of time. I think the NHL says it can start between this time and this time, but the NBA says no. The finals are starting on June 5th. Everyone be there.
Yeah,
and so they have to. So they already have that planned out that they know they're going to have to stretch it between then and now.
All I know is that bleep Brooklyn.
Yeah,
that got way more play than it needed to get, I thought. But yeah, this is again, like I said earlier, this is my first time I've been this knee deep in the playoffs in a very long time, and I'm just loving every minute of it. It's great.
It's fun,
and you cannot beat it.
Nerve-wracking, but
it's definitely nerve-wracking. But see, that's the thing, though. I enjoy the nerve-wracking part of it. To me, that's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
I like the overtime. I like watching my team struggle to come back from a 3-1 deficit. Although, real quick, I asked last night, I'm like, what are the odds of these 4 games doing this? And it turns out that Crash Carson looked it up, 50,000 to 1.
Right.
So, but yeah, been a great first round so far, and I can't imagine it's just going to get better from here. So, Are we done?
Yeah.
All right.
That's our hockey talk.
Go Jackets.
Go. I don't.
Go Ducks.
Oh, come on, Mike. You got to have at least one team out of all this. Come on, Canadiens. Nothing else.
Canadiens. Yeah.
All right. There you go. All right. Cool. Hit the gong, Zach.
Gong.
All right. The Glorious Tournament of Victory Championship match was held this week. Guess what? The goddamn Batman won. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next year.
Woo! Yeah.
Before we jump to Zach's tabs, there is a bit of news that concerns you, Greg. Kevin Demoff. He is a VP for the St. Louis Rams.
Okay.
And he has tweeted about potential changes upcoming to their uniforms.
Oh, wait. Don't tell me. Don't tease me, Mike.
I'm just going to read you the quote.
Don't tease me.
I'm just going to read you the tweet.
Okay.
A ton of votes for the blue and whites. I'm with you on that. We're working on that as a long-term option.
I am vindicated. A ton of votes for the blue and whites. You know why? Because they're the best uniforms ever. That's why.
So the Rams, in the process of changing uniforms, who knows if this will coincide with a move to Los Angeles.
That would be even better.
Wait,
I didn't say that out loud, but go ahead.
They'll throw their rancid cheese at you in protest. But it does look like, at the very least, they will be going back to some form of their older uniforms, quite possibly the best football uniforms of all time, according to Greg.
Awesome. That would be the greatest thing ever, and I would be vindicated. I would go on the boards, and I would not shut up about it for months. I told you. Oh, my God, I'd be insufferable.
You make it your avatar.
Yep.
Stick a bunch of pictures of the uniforms in your SIG.
Better believe it.
Yeah.
You know how much flack I take on those boards for liking those uniforms? Now, a lot of people agree. They like them a lot and all that, but other people are like, no, they can't go back to those. The blue and golds are much better, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I would be completely insufferable if this happens.
Oh, you want to know what would be awesome? Lights out, seeing that.
That'd be the greatest. I want them to go, like, total throwback, too. None of this crazy Nike stuff. I want them to be straight up.
Block numbers.
All they need to do is on the road. Back then, they were the road uniforms. The blue jerseys go with the shoulder stripes like the white ones have.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
That would be great.
So it looks like they are seriously considering the white and blue, and apparently that looks to be a favorite within the Rams organization. So,
classy bunch, those Rams fans.
Yes. Yes. I'm sure they are. And I'm sure that they'll be even classier in Los Angeles. Oh.
Well, they do need to go back to Los Angeles, because if they're going to be the blue and white Rams, they need to be the Los Angeles Rams in blue and white. That's what I think. And just think, it'd be easy for Zach. His Colt stuff would match.
Blue and athletic gold, please.
Whatever. Buzzkill. All right, are we ready for the tabs?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Zach's tabs.
As a couple of us know, Mike, you may not be familiar. Sunday was Easter.
Yes, it was.
And we celebrate that Jesus rose from the dead. But guess what? He's back.
Again?
In Chicago?
No, not in Chicago.
Oh, where's he at this
showed
time?
up at the Bruins Red Wings playoff game.
Oh, even better.
Okay.
Jesus was at the Red Wings Bruins playoff game.
So the second coming happened, and he just decided to catch a hockey game.
Well, where would you go? I mean, your options are, okay, you come back, right? Your options are April baseball, the NBA playoffs, sitting around talking about the NFL for no reason in particular, or NHL playoffs. If I'm Jesus, I'm headed straight to the game, man.
Jesus got the ticket on Twitter.
And he got booed out of the garden.
That's excessive. He was actually named the fan of the game.
How could you not?
And I guess he tried to sneak down to the lower bowl, and so a security guard grabbed him. And some of the reports were that Jesus was trying to smoke, not just smoke cigarettes, but smoke some pot in the lower bowl.
Well, it's nature's way.
Well,
yes, Jesus was named fan of the game at the
what's
Red Wings.
Jesus doing? Did Jesus pose with the World Series trophy?
Yes. I can't get it to open. Hold on a minute.
Is Thor, and he's
Thor. Oh my God!
He happens to have really long hair and a beard, and looked like Jesus.
A guy named Thor.
Oh, so he wasn't pretending to be Jesus or anything?
No.
Oh, well, that's no good.
I mean, and really, he doesn't.
Oh, he looks a lot like Jesus.
He looks more like Andrew WK.
God, remember him?
Ugh.
This is a great tweet. Jesus in the house for hashtag Bruins game, hashtag NHL playoffs.
Like I said, man, you come back, if you're Jesus and you come back right now, I got to think the first sporting event you're going to go to is an NHL playoff game. I mean, don't get me wrong, baseball's great, but it's April and nothing's happening.
We love rebrands here at Basically a Sports Show. And Ronald McDonald gets a rebrand from the McDonald Company. Yeah.
Oh my God! He better not be wearing jorts and a backwards hat.
It's close.
Hold on, let's see.
He has 2 new outfits. One that's a short sleeve.
Oh, Ronald rocking the alternate. Look at that.
Right, and then, but for formal occasions, he has a red blazer.
Ronald McDonald gets the alternate jersey. It seems they've kind of tapered his look a little bit, kind of streamlined him. It's almost like a Reebok Edge type of thing here.
Yeah,
maybe.
he's definitely more modern.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I'm just curious.
He still has big clown shoes and the same makeup on his face. So.
I'm curious though. At what point would he ever have to wear a formal blazer?
Well, Mike. Well, here apparently.
Hey, he's, goes to weddings and stuff, I'm sure.
Well, McDonald's also put out a very entertaining press release titled, McDonald's unveils new mission and image for brand ambassador Ronald McDonald. He's not a mascot, he's a brand ambassador.
Of course he is.
Ronald McDonald, who represents the magic and happiness of the McDonald's brand, is setting out on a global mission to rally the public through inspiring events. For the first time, Ronald McDonald will take an active role in McDonald's social media channels around the world and engage consumers using the hashtag Ronald McDonald hashtag.
Ronald McDonald has a Twitter account?
Now he does. As Ronald begins his journey, he seeks to deliver on the mission. Fun makes great things happen.
Okay.
Ronald brings to life the fun of our brand by connecting with customers around the world. Whether he's promoting literacy or spreading cheer at Ronald McDonald House, customers today want to engage with brands in different ways, and Ronald will continue to evolve to be modern and relevant.
Ronald McDonald
Ronald will be sporting a new wardrobe that includes yellow cargo pants, a vest, accompanied by a red and white striped rugby shirt.
Well, I did catch that he did have a couple of what I felt were unnecessary stripes on the shorts.
Yep, I saw those.
Yeah.
His iconic big red shoes will be the same. Reserved for special occasions, Ronald has a whimsical new red blazer with golden arches on the front pocket, as well as his well-recognized signature on the back, and a special bow tie to complete the look.
Whimsical, just in case you were taking him a little too seriously.
New clothes were designed by esteemed theatrical designer Ann Hold Ward, who said, "Designing new clothes for Ronald McDonald was one of the highlights of my career. I've worked with some really big names over the years, and suiting up a living legend was a real thrill."
Wow.
Ronald McDonald can't wait to connect with people through social media. And then in quotes, it says, "Selfies, here I come."
Well, guys, what we're going to have to do now, because of this, every week on the show, we are going to pick the Ronald McDonald tweet of the week. What do you think?
I'm down for
We will
it.
end the show each week with a pearl of wisdom from Ronald McDonald. I think that's the only way to do it.
I'm going to be really disappointed if this is just him tweeting out McDonald's coupons or specials or.
I'm waiting for him to send out the obligatory penis picture. It's just a matter of time.
Oh my God!
How awesome would it be if it was red and white striped? Come on.
Jesus.
Well,
anyway, moving on.
That's where the basically part of Basically a Sports Show comes in for any new listeners.
Moving on. We got some NFL stuff.
Okay. Of course we do. Because the fucking NFL never goes away. They just won't shut the hell up.
Yesterday was the biggest day of the spring. NFL schedule release day.
Yes.
As I knew because I got at least 12 notifications on my phone from the ESPN app detailing every week's freaking schedule.
Oh, and I just real quick shout out to Dan Patrick and Chris Collinsworth, who both predicted it would be Green Bay at Seattle to open the season. Well done, boys.
Congratulations.
All right.
Oh, guess who the Rams play in Week 17? At Seattle. Why is that special? It's not. They've done it like 4 out of the last 5 years.
Oh, okay.
It's just something.
I heard Seattle's schedule's pretty rough, though. Actually,
I'm not breaking down schedules right now.
Yeah, we'll do that when we start. Yeah, let's not.
I'm just not doing it.
But that's the thing, though. And what's the draft like in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
I mean, can't this league just shut up for even a month? Just go away.
Nope. Russell Wilson getting a divorce.
Yeah, that surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, I thought he and his wife were always doing that charity crap. So
yeah.
The Bills accidentally published an article.
Accidentally published an article?
Oops.
The Bills were going to put out this thing, and they botched it. There was an article on their website that the headline was Coach Maroney announces he has cancer.
Oh. I mean, that's not funny, but if it's an accident.
Then the little sub description, head coach Doug Maroney announced today that he was diagnosed with, and then in all caps, blank type of cancer, and that is highly treatable.
Well, the blank kind, that's the best kind to have, I've heard, is blank cancer.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Very treatable. Very treatable. Oh.
And like they use it as a filler. And basically he had a cancerous mole that was removed.
Oh.
So
we won't be no tributes. There won't be Don Strong this year or anything like that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah, no. I thought I had more.
Well, that's okay.
You want to see a bunch of concept art from the original Star Wars movies?
Well, since we're not really a visual medium, we should probably skip that.
Yeah, probably.
But anyway, are we done?
I think.
Wow. I just want to point out, we set a record last week, our first ever 3-hour show. And it didn't seem like 3 hours when we were doing it. I didn't think it did anyway.
No. Well, the Stanley Cup Playoffs talk always elongates it.
Yeah. Who's playing tonight, by the way?
Boston, Detroit.
Okay.
Followed by Colorado, Minnesota.
Oh, I'll actually get to watch some of that finally.
Followed by King Sharks.
King Sharks. We will send the Kings home tonight, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what? I think they win tonight.
Hashtag Sharks choke.
I think the Kings win tonight just to give their fans a glimmer of hope before the Sharks finally just stick the knife in the last time and finish them off.
Yeah. Boston, Detroit is going to start up in 10 minutes here.
Excellent.
Actually. On NBCSN, and then CNBC after they're done talking about closing Bell.
And Shark Tank, that show, Shark Tank?
Yeah.
That's on there a lot, too.
Yeah.
I still don't understand why CNBC is airing hockey games. Like, aside from the NBC family of networks, it just seems like an odd choice.
Dude, why was the NCAA basketball tournament, which I noted we never said one word about on this show, so congratulations, I'm proud of us.
We have our own better tournament. So,
but why? Their games were on True TV and TBS. So who knows? It's just you put the games where you can put them, I suppose. I think it makes more sense for them to be on CNBC than it did for the basketball games to be on True TV.
I don't even know.
True TV is just like the third Turner channel that they own,
right?
But
and they were going to put them on TBS and TNT because they do show sports on those channels.
But, I mean, at least this has CNBC, well, of course it does. It's the name of the network, Greg. At least it has NBC in the name of the network, so it makes a little bit of sense,
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
I completely forgot what I was talking about.
I don't know. Isn't True TV about reality TV? Isn't it?
It used to be Court TV.
Court TV, yeah.
But then they made it True TV, so now it's just
a bunch of fake reality shows, basically.
Yeah.
Well, technically speaking, sports, that's reality.
Yeah.
Based entertainment.
If we're done, I'll do the plugs and we'll call it a night.
I think that's it.
All right. Well, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. The website is basicallyasportshow.com. Email us at basicallyasportshow@gmail.com. Did I get them all? Listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, maybe still Podomatic. I haven't quite decided yet. And make sure to check out Basically a Geek Show, where you can find out all those same outlets I just brought up.
Yeah, Basically a Geek Show, episode 12, should be recording this Sunday.
Zach, what are you doing tonight? You're calling a baseball game, right?
Yes, it is the season finale for the Saddleback College Gauchos as they host rival Riverside College.
Are they
the Tigers?
So where would I go to listen to this?
Well, you can go to ksbr.org, and on the left side of the screen under sports, there will be a link that says click here. and you click there. And if you have Windows Media Player, you can hear myself and Justin Maestas on the call of Saddleback Gaucho Baseball.
Absolutely.
Gaucho. The Gauchos, huh?
The new king of all media, our very own Zach.
I'm actually trying to find the standings. I need to print these things out. I don't. I think they might have clinched the conference title already, but
who? Your team or the other guys?
No, our team.
Oh, okay.
The Gauchos. It's been a really tight conference. The Orange Empire Conference. A Gaucho is an Argentinian cowboy.
Well, that makes sense.
Does it?
Yeah, it they are currently tied. We're a game. Wow, when did that happen? I don't pay attention to them for a week because they played some out of conference games up in like Central California.
The voice of the Gauchos. He
knows
right
nothing about them.
Well, they're a game. They're a game out of first place.
But anyway, okay, if that's gonna, yeah.
That's it.
As we stumble to the finish, ladies and gentlemen.
It doesn't matter as long as we cross it.
As long as we cross it. Anyway, that's going to do it for us. We will see you all next time right here on Basically a Sports Show. Go Jackets.
Go Ducks.
Go Habs.